Hey, it's good to see you. It's been a while. This is what my office looks like right now. It's not the best. Just to get this video started, I had to remove a very embarrassing ironing board that was right there. But here I am. It's been a while since we've talked, and I gotta say, I am about as nervous as the first time I ever sat down to make a video like this. A lot has happened in the last year. We had a third baby. I am now the father of 3 boys. We moved out of state about 10 hours away from where we were previously, and I've had a job change in the last 6 months. So that's just a fraction of kind of what's happened. It's what I'm comfortable with talking about in public, but that's been my life for the last about 8 months now. So as anybody who's been following me knows, I've been interested in learning to code and become a web developer for a little while now. I spent the better part of a year and a half learning how to do that. Considering going to a coding boot camp and then eventually attending a coding boot camp, which unfortunately fell apart because of internal issues with the boot camp itself. That sucked, but it was a really good learning experience, and I was actually one of the fortunate ones, and I ended up getting a job as an entry-level WordPress developer right before that boot camp ended up dissolving. So that was very hopeful. And I learned a lot in that job. I did everything from building like a quick Elementor website to fully developing a custom theme in WP Rig from line 1 all the way to production. And I learned a ton doing that about the WordPress CMS, about building out plugins, building custom themes, building really intense and intricate functionality within the events calendar, piggybacking my own custom code off of existing plugins, stuff like that. I really made a lot of headway in the better part of a year doing that. I realized something from doing that, though, that had always kind of been in the back of my mind, but became really apparent and undeniable after getting into the development space, which is that I am too dumb to be a full-blown software engineer. And I don't even really say that disparagingly. It's kind of fun to kind of knock myself a little bit, but I actually say it at least 50-50 from kind of an objective conclusion I came to after meeting people like Benjamin Van Wyn, who I've had on a couple of podcasts here, some of my coworkers at the agency, actual legitimate software engineers. I realized that I like solving technical problems, but my entire background up until I was a developer was solving people problems. And that was for a reason. I'm pretty good at solving people problems. Meeting these developers like Benji and some of my coworkers made me realize how next level some developers truly are. And in order to advance my career to the point that I wanted to as a developer, I would have to work twice as hard, and it would take twice as long as the average person, at least that I was associating with. The other side of this is I am not the best employee. Since I was 16, I've always been entrepreneurial. The first thing that I ever did for work was slap a big H1 onto a piece of paper saying that I could do yard work for $15 an hour. And I did decent at that for my age. And since then, in the, ensuing decade and a half, I've set up a couple of different service-based businesses that have had varying degrees of success. Like I said, I've never hit it big, but I've always been able to provide for my family and work for myself. And I've always taken a lot of pride in that work, almost irrespective of the work itself, to be honest with you. I've dug ditches for individual clients, and just being in control of how clients are handled, being the sole person responsible for my income cap, and being able to say no when I want to have been the best feelings in working in general for me, and something that would require a pretty high price tag to let go of. And in order to get to that price tag in software engineering, it would have taken quite a bit of long-term effort, and I think it would have been working against my actual nature of being able to work with people really well. Now, that said, before my position ended at the agency that I was at, I got the opportunity at that position to manage a couple of projects and see them through to completion. And while this never really transitioned into a full-time project management position, I really liked the style of work, and I decided that it was kind of the route that I wanted to go. At the same time, I started getting personal referrals for website builds. Friends, families, and connections, mutual connections with friends and family started coming to me asking for me to build them a website. I built a couple of excavation websites. I built this website for a theater company. I refactored my friend's chiropractic clinic's website to actually great results on the SEO side. And one referral turned into 2, turned into a couple every, couple of months. And now I'm at the point where I'm making just enough to get by doing that. So I'm going to be leaning more into this. So here's exactly where I'm at. Other than sales, I've been a window cleaning business owner for the better part of 7 years now in a couple of different markets. This has always been a pretty good way for me to make money. It's not the kind of work that I want to do long term. It's very expensive to hire employees because of the liability. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm running a window cleaning business in our area to pay the bills in the immediate term, just to pay rent, buy food, buy diapers, all that good stuff. And while I do that, I'm picking up website builds gradually. The goal is to pay all of the bills with window cleaning and then reinvest the money that I make from doing site builds into marketing efforts and learning more through mentorship, which is going to be a big part of my success. I got to admit, I'm just going to be straight with you. This is pretty scary for me. After moving just a few months ago, both of the businesses are picking up pretty slowly compared to, especially the window cleaning thing, compared to like previous times that I've done it. It's picking up slower than usual. Probably mainly because we're in the off season and there's a lot on the line when you're the sole breadwinner and you have 3 kids. That's for sure, man. But we're gradually making progress. And things are starting to look up a little bit after a few hard months. My hope and goal is that by this time, when summer or fall hits in 4 to 6 months, that I'll be able to go full time into the web agency side of things. That said, man, this could all change in a day. I've hired a mentor who has run several successful digital agencies and has closed some site builds in the high 5-figure ranges. So I'm not setting up lofty expectations for myself necessarily, but we are developing outbound prospecting methods that will inevitably, with enough time, effort, and consistency, generate high-ticket business for the agency. And so that's what we're aiming at. And if I could achieve even a fraction of this kind of business, once, maybe twice, my work schedule will completely shift overnight. So we will see how that pans out. So this channel moving forward, if you subscribed here over the last couple of years to see content on coding boot camps, thank you. I appreciate it. That content is more or less going to stop. It's just not where I'm at in my life right now. This channel was always set up to document my career, my business development, my development as a software engineer, my development as a person, and my life looks different than it did a year ago. So if you're interested in seeing content about building out a web agency, hearing from other professionals in the space, from SaaS to software sales to outbound prospecting to agency management to marketing to SEO, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, we're going to have podcast guests on to cover topics like that. And we're going to cover some software engineering and probably some bootcamp material as well as time continues to go by. It's just going to be few and far between compared to how it was previously. The last thing, and this one's a little embarrassing, so I saved it for the homies that watched the whole thing. I don't even have a website up for myself yet. So I have nowhere to send you, but it's mainly because I've been making other people's websites, to be honest with you. But I'm going to be getting on that ASAP. I'm working on one right now, so stick around. I may or may not be making a video about that build, but either way, you'll see it around. My goal here is to build community, so reach out. I'm more or less available. I'll be less available as I get more busy, but right now, I have a couple of projects I'm working on, but I have time to talk to you. So if you want to have a talk sometime, make sure to hop on LinkedIn and we can get something booked. In the meantime, like and sub. I'm going to be making content once again regularly on this channel because I have something that I'm actually working towards now. Instead of just trying to work myself out of imposter syndrome at a new position, I am now trying much more so to work myself out of imposter syndrome of being a web agency owner. So if that's something that interests you, come along for the ride and I'll see you soon.